Good afternoon. We're so glad that you're joining us again. We want to wish you all a Merry Christmas. I'm here with my sisters in Christ. This is Kathy. I'm Amy, and we're so glad to have Sandy Harper here with us today. She has an amazing testimony, and we've been fortunate enough to be able to walk with her through it and just see how wonderful our Lord is. And so we're going to turn it over to her right now and just pray that you will share this with someone that you know or show it to someone that's struggling, and they just need to hear what God will do for them.
Yes.
So, Sandy?
Hey guys, like she said, I'm Sandy Harper, and 4 years ago at this time, I was at one of the darkest places in my life. I had let my life just spiral out of control. It had been just living in the world, looking for solutions in the wrong places, and I had just really come to a point to where I didn't think I was gonna wanted to live anymore. Actually, not just that I could live or not live or whatever, but I just didn't want to live anymore because I had thought that I had really just gone too far into it, that I was never going to be able to have a live again, that I couldn't, everything that had come crumbling down on top of me, that I had lost everything. I wasn't working. I was living without electricity and water. I had my car was gone. I had shut myself off from my family to where I had so much shame that I didn't really have anybody that I thought that I could turn to, and so I guess I'm gonna just back up to it's typical teenager. I started out at the age probably of 13 or 14, smoking marijuana, drinking, partying and stuff like that. And at 17, I got pregnant and got married. And by 19, I was divorced and with a baby. And so at the age of 19, I was going to beauty school and working in Little Rock. And so I started doing what a lot of people up there were doing. I started partying pretty hard. That's the first time I'd done some pretty hard drugs. I was doing cocaine quite a bit and partying, smoking weed, drinking on the weekends, just, living my life up, And so, so I made it through beauty school and went on. And then I ended up, but I was still trying to hang on to things of the world. I was raising my son, but, like on the weekends I would party and doing stuff like that, and then I ended up going to work in the medical field, and I worked all this time, and I was raising my son, but I still, anytime we did anything, I would drink and just doing that, but I was still going to church, I was playing church, and I'd go to church every Sunday, just doing that kind of thing, because I was raised in church, and I'm so thankful for my parents and my family. If it hadn't been for them just kind of setting some, because they always say you will come back to it, and I was saved at the age of 10, and I remember going down that aisle and giving my heart to Jesus, but I didn't know what having a true relationship with the Lord was all about, and I was still trying to hang on to things of the world, and live, just not when I would have a problem turning to Him. And so it goes on up to, let's see, I was 39 years old before I got married again. And this is the crazy thing, y'all. In my mind at that time, I met this guy, and it was, I met him at a deer camp, actually. And there was drinking going on, and, and what you normally do. And so, and I just thought, and I met him, and 6 months later I married him. And this is crazy because, I really thought, man, I found somebody, because he likes to party and, just like I do, And so, like I said, I still had my job and was working, but, it was just like, I wasn't living and going to church and being in a relationship with the Lord like I needed to be. And so anyway, so we ended up being married for 7 years, and during that time, I got back off into doing, well, I guess I need to back up a little bit. When my son was in the 3rd grade, when meth really first came out, I tried it for a little while, and I was a functioning addict, I guess is what you'll call it, because I worked every day, but, I would snort a line here and there, and I did it for a little bit, but then I saw what it was doing to some of my friends' lives, and I saw that, and I thought, that's not what I need to be doing, and so I quit. And so then, once I got married, and we started doing it, and we would do it on the weekends, and then it was not a good relationship. I mean, I had the pull of going, I know what I need to be doing. This is not what it's normal. This is not what I'm supposed to be doing. But it's one of those situations where I got myself into it, and I thought, how am I going to get myself out of this, And it became a real volatile relationship. And he ended up, not working, and I had, actually at that time I had come into, I was pretty well off, as far as like I was working, but I had like an inheritance. I'll just go ahead and put it out there. I had an inheritance coming, and it was not, he didn't want to have to work, and then it was like just some ugliness going on, and so it ended up being to where we were doing meth pretty much every day, and he was a real bad alcoholic, and so I was still working, and then my dad got sick, and my uncle had passed away, and he was like my best friend, and just a lot of bad things were happening in my life. And instead of me turning to the Lord and going, Lord, I need you, and having, knowing that that's where I should have been going, I was trying to figure out how to get myself out of this mess on my own. And, that's where Satan he will oppress you and depress you to where you think you're stuck and you have no way out. And so, and my family was trying to help me, but I didn't know how to explain to them because, I knew I was doing things that I didn't need to be doing, but I was living a lie, with that. And so, anyways, that relationship almost cost me my life. I'll never forget, I ran out of the house one night, and it had been snowing, and I'd moved back to Prattsville at that time, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and it was just one of those crazy, volatile nights, and I ran out of the house, and I had no shoes on. There was snow on the ground, and I remember standing in the middle of Highway 270 just screaming for somebody to help me, and I know this is probably too much information for some people, but I just want you to know that there are ways out. Don't ever let yourself be trapped into something like that, and so anyways, long story short, I ended up getting rid of him, but and instead of and by then though, like I said, I was smoking it every day, and I was pretty much hooked on it, to where every thought in my head was, how am I going to have more, and so you find out that you really don't have friends out there. Anybody that's doing drugs, they're not your friends. I mean, even if you grew up with them, that's Satan's way of, it just destroys relationships. You don't have friends out there because you just can't. And so, anyways, it rocked on, and I ended up leaving Prattsville because my family, they tried to intervene, and I told them that they were the crazy ones. I wasn't the crazy ones, they were crazy. I was not on drugs, I was just living that lie, and even though they tried to help me, but, I knew I needed help, but I didn't know how, I knew I needed help, but I just didn't know how to explain to them some of the stuff that happened to me in that relationship. Like I said, it was pretty volatile. I had a gun held to my head several nights, and there's, it was just some stuff that just, I didn't know how to process it or deal with it, and then when you start trying to cover all that up by numbing it, it just makes it worse because, what it does to your mind is crazy, and I've tried to explain to my family and to some people, what it ended up doing to me mentally. It's a hard thing to explain to somebody what that did to me mentally, and that's why by the time it was all over with in 2016, I was at a place so dark in my life, y'all. I mean, I was sick. I was sick mentally, spiritually, physically, and I didn't know if I really didn't want to live anymore. I just kept thinking, Lord, why don't you just take me off this earth, I'm of no good to anybody, it had just messed with me so bad in my mind, And so, long story short, and I'm not going to put Kathy out there, but she is my friend, but the Lord knew what he was doing, y'all. This is so crazy because in 2014, the Lord put Kathy and me back in each other's life, and even though we were out there doing things we didn't need to be doing, the Lord knew what he was doing, y'all, because if it hadn't been for him orchestrating that and putting her in my life, because, she started she started to get clean, and I saw that, you know. And so even though we were apart, you know, he put her in my life, and it was so crazy because I guess it was later on in that year, she was talking about, you know, her friend Amy getting clean, and, you know, and how much she missed her, you know. And we would talk about, you know, what we needed to do and everything, you know. And she talked about Jeff Eford, who was, you know, used to run around with her, and about them having this group that they had here in Malvern at that time, you know, a recovery group, and that, you know, just seeing what the Lord was doing in their life, you know. And it was crazy. Even though we were getting high together, you know, this is what we would talk about. So fast forward then, you know, it went on, and like I said, I'd left Prattsville, I moved to Hot Springs, and then I ended up coming back to Malvern. But in that time, I got in another relationship, which it was, you know, I'm not going to put him out there because, listen, I was not in a good place to be in a relationship either. I was not healthy, you know. I mean, and let me tell you something, there's no good drug addict. I thought I was a good drug addict, but I wasn't, you know, because I led some people down the wrong road. Instead of, like, turning them in the right direction, I could have been, you know, I mean, you know, I was out there getting high with them, you know. And you don't really realize while you're out there how demonic and dark it really is, but it is. It's something that you can't explain to people if they haven't been there, and what it does to your mind is crazy. And so fast forward on to 2016, I ended up, for that month, I guess it was in September, I ended up in the hospital. I had and all I can think is the truck I was driving that day, that I didn't kill somebody, because I don't know how. I had gone to Prattsville and come back, but I don't remember that trip back. And so the Lord protected everybody around me, and I'm just so grateful for that. And so I had left at a Friday at noon, and on Saturday morning I woke up in the ICU unit out there, not knowing how I got there at all. And I had all these stuff hooked up to me, and I'm thinking, what in the world, you know? And so, and I'm gonna just tell y'all, this is something I really haven't shared with a lot of people, but this is how insane it was and how dark it was in that time. So this is September the 21st of 2016. So the nurse comes in there, and I'm waking up thinking, is this really a dream or is this real? And it's real. And she's telling me, you know, she said, you know, and then the minute the doctor comes in, and he says, your CT was okay, but you need to stop doing what you were doing, you know, or you're not going to, you know, you're lucky to be alive. And so, you know, me still in denial, craziness. And so, you know, they'd cut my clothes off of me, so they found me some scrubs to wear home. I had just enough money in my purse for a taxi cab. And the first place, y'all, this is what I did. I had them take me to Fuddy's to go get me another pipe, because I knew that the pipe that